A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey is a sort of rom-com, but it's more like a quirky, festival, art house-ish, romantic-y type film that explores why people become the way they are and how your past affects who you are now. It stars Colin Farrell as a fairly normal dude who meets Margot Robbie at a wedding, and they sort of flirt but they don't get together. And then the film goes on to, in a very kitschy way, throw them together and leads them to literally walk through random doors guided by a very Wes Anderson car GPS system. These doors take them together to various times in each of their pasts, forcing them to confront, difficult and interesting times, and it makes them realize how they got to where they are in the present. It is definitely not a standard rom-com. It's more like a character study with funny bits. Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie are both really great actors, and they're both doing a great job of bringing their characters to life, but they don't really have much chemistry between them. I don't really buy that they're into each other or that they would be good together. In fact, I found myself as an audience member not really necessarily that invested in them getting together at the end. I wasn't shipping them, as the kids say. The kids don't say that. And I will say the film is kind of slow. You might say, oh, it's not afraid to leave room to breathe as a film, but really, that's not actually how it comes off. You might find yourself bored between the scenes. There are lots of long, talky stretches between scenes, and it really does demand a lot of your prolonged attention at times, which is why I recommend you see it in a cinema full of artsy-fartsy folks who will help you with the atmosphere. Because there are some laughs to be had, but they're kind of few and far between. And although the parts that are good are really good and they give you the right kind of giggles, the story never quite finds the momentum it needs, as the characters go from one history to the next, and then, the movie's heart is in the right place, but it winds up not being compelling enough to keep your attention as the plot kind of meanders around. Some of the good things about it is that Margot Robbie's character is an interesting paradox. She's a pretty girl who admits that she's actually a monster in relationships, and she's powered by this sunny vitality which makes you like her a lot, but she hides this very dark personal complex, and that's a lot more interesting than the usual manic pixie dream girl character that's always in these films. Colin Farrell's character, he tends to be a couple of steps behind her, trying to work out if she's really who she is and really means what she just said. And he's also very likable. Both of them are very likable characters, and it's fun to watch them. But again, I don't see them as a couple together, and I wasn't driven to hoping that they'd get together, which is kind of a problem for a rom-com. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in it, and she's using this wacky German accent and cussing indiscriminately, which gives some good laughs. I genuinely laughed at that. Kevin Kline is in it. Haven't seen him in a while. It's nice to see him. He's got a very small part, but whatever. Weirdly, the film has a soundtrack and needle drops that happen throughout the film, but not that much of a score. There is a score, but there are lots of long stretches where it's just dialogue and there's no score. And that does make you pay attention to the dialogue, but it also makes the scene feel kind of sparse. The scene comes off more talky than it really is because there's only dialogue. I don't know if that was quite what they were going for, and I don't know if it was a good choice. There's one scene in a Burger King which is a good scene, but it weirdly looks like a fast food commercial. They're actually talking about the burgers, and they're holding cups with the brand out and stuff like that. And again, it wasn't a bad scene, it was fine to watch, but it does make you wonder why that scene was there. It is sort of their meet cute after the meet cute, but it's then not referenced again in the film, and it's just odd. Ultimately, despite some good parts and some very likable actors, the episodic structure of the movie just kind of drops you into one character's past while the other one's along for the ride, and you do learn more about the characters each time, but the story doesn't weave together well enough to build up. It's more like random moments that ultimately don't knit the film together well enough, and it is an ambitious film that purposely doesn't make the obvious choices, and that's really good, but it has too many pacing issues and the romance isn't quite compelling enough. So even though not everything lands, I can say that it was at least not like any other movies that you're gonna see out there now, and It's good to see this kind of an offbeat film get the studio treatment with big stars. I can see why the two leads chose this film to make. It looks like it was more interesting to make this film than to watch it. Overall, I give it a 5 out of 10. Even though it's an interesting swing, it is just not going to steal your heart. It looks like it would be a good date film, but unless the girl you're taking out owns a beret and lives for art house films, it's not gonna be interesting enough for you to talk about much afterwards over coffee. Instead, I recommend staying home with her, watching Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind over wine and cheezels instead. Thanks for watching! If you like this video, please hit me with a like and a follow. Talk to you soon.